Today, let's dive into something deeply personal. We're going to talk about things you should never sacrifice for anyone, no matter the situation, no matter the person. These aren't just nice-to-have qualities, but the very foundation of who you are. Think about it for a second. If you're constantly bending, giving, and compromising, at what point do you lose yourself? At what point do you forget what matters most to you? Let's explore what you should be holding on to, regardless of who comes into your life or how challenging the circumstances become. And before we jump in, a quick note. I've just launched a brand new, completely free newsletter. Sign up with your email, and I'll send you weekly insights, tips, and exclusive content straight to your inbox. It's a great way to stay inspired, motivated, and connected. The link is in the description. Don't miss out. 1. Your self-respect. Self-respect is the core of your identity, and it's something that should be fiercely guarded. It's easy to let small compromises slide, especially when we try to keep the peace or make others happy. But the moment you sacrifice your self-respect, you hand over the control of your life. People will start testing limits, pushing boundaries, and gradually eroding what you hold sacred. It's a slow process, one where you'll find yourself wondering who you even are anymore. In my own life, I experienced this firsthand. I was in a relationship where things started off fine, but over time, small criticisms began to creep in. You're too sensitive. You're overthinking. Maybe you're not good enough for that job. I didn't want to cause conflict, so I let it slide, telling myself these were just passing comments. But over time, I started to believe them. I started shrinking myself, second-guessing my decisions, questioning every word I spoke. Eventually, I looked in the mirror, and the person staring back wasn't the confident, strong version of me I used to know. It was someone smaller, someone who had allowed another person's opinion to dictate their self-worth. That was the moment I realized I had sacrificed my self-respect, piece by piece, and I didn't recognize who I had become. But reclaiming that self-respect was one of the hardest but most empowering decisions I made. Standing up for yourself, especially when you've allowed others to take advantage of you, is uncomfortable and painful. You'll be accused of changing, of being selfish, or even difficult. But here's the truth. Most people are fine with you as long as you don't make them uncomfortable. The second you set boundaries and refuse to accept disrespect, you threaten their comfort zone, and they'll push back. They may try to make you feel guilty, but self-respect isn't about being unkind or unwilling to compromise. It's about protecting your values and walking away from situations, people, or even jobs that make you betray who you truly are. Self-respect doesn't mean you have to be harsh, but it does mean you have the courage to stand firm when necessary. Society often glorifies self-sacrifice, romanticizing the idea of putting everyone else's needs ahead of your own. But let's face it, when your happiness or peace requires betraying yourself, that's not selflessness, it's self-sabotage. The moment I made the decision to prioritize my self-respect, everything changed. I began to feel stronger, more grounded, and in control of my life. Some relationships fell apart, but in hindsight, they were the ones that had been holding me back. Once I let go of people who didn't respect me, I made room for those who did. I realized that self-respect wasn't just a choice. It was a commitment to myself, a vow to protect my peace, confidence, and sense of worth. So, respect yourself enough to walk away from anyone who doesn't respect you. Stop justifying bad behavior simply because you understand where it's coming from. Compassion is one thing, but allowing someone to treat you like a doormat is entirely different. The reality is that when you let go of your self-respect, everything else starts to crumble. Your confidence, your dignity, your sense of purpose. Once self-respect is gone, it's hard to regain. No relationship, job, or friendship is worth sacrificing the core of who you are. Stand your ground and let people reveal themselves. If they can't respect your boundaries, let them go. Your dreams. Your dreams aren't just some distant, lofty goals that can be put off indefinitely. They are the things that give your life meaning, the things that keep you moving forward every single day. Yet, it's surprising how often people will try to talk you out of your dreams. They'll say things like, "That's a great idea, but don't you think it's time to be realistic?" Or, "That's a nice dream, but when are you going to grow up?" Why is it that dreams seem to only be acceptable if they're tiny, if they fit neatly into someone else's box? But here's the thing, dreams aren't meant to fit into boxes. They're meant to break them open. I remember the first time I shared a big dream of mine. Someone looked at me and said, "Wow, that's ambitious." That word stuck with me, but not in a positive way. It was a polite way of saying, "That's way out of your league." At first, I almost let that comment get to me. I started to doubt myself, questioning whether I was being unrealistic. But the truth is, the people who tell you to let go of your dreams aren't the ones who will live with the regret if you give them up. You will. Dreams aren't just goals. They are pieces of you. They reflect your passions, your vision for your life. Sacrificing them just to gain approval or make someone else comfortable is like dimming your own light just because it's too bright for others. The more you let others make you feel that pursuing your dreams is selfish, the more you risk losing that spark within you. People will sometimes make you feel like your dreams are trivial or unimportant, especially if those dreams don't fit into their idea of what you should be doing. But what if the most responsible thing you can do is chase your dreams? What if by following your passion, you inspire others to do the same? Maybe your dream will change lives or create something that matters more than you ever imagined. The truth is, there are so many people who give up on their dreams because they think it's too late or too impractical. They'll tell you they had reasons, stability, family, practical matters, but those aren't life sentences. If you can't make room for your dreams, you risk living a life that isn't truly yours. I'm not saying you need to drop everything and sail around the world. Unless that's your dream, then do it. But if your dream is sitting on the back burner, ask yourself why. Who told you it had to wait? Dreams aren't just fantasies. They are what make us feel alive. They align us with our true selves. So the next time someone tells you that your dream is unrealistic, just smile and say, "Maybe it is for you, but not for me." Keep your dreams alive. 3. Your time. Time is the one thing you can never get back. It's finite, and once it's gone for good. Yet, we give it away so freely, as if it's just lying around waiting to be spent. Everyone wants a slice of your time, friends, family, work, that random person who needs a favor. It feels like there's always someone or something demanding your attention, but the truth is, your time is precious. I used to be that person who said yes to everything. Need help moving? Sure, I've got a few hours. An extra project at work that no one else wants to take on? Count me in. But after a while, I started to notice something. I was exhausted. I felt mentally drained, and I wasn't actually doing things that mattered to me. My days were filled with things that were, frankly, meaningless. And the people I was helping, they were rarely there when I needed a hand. People will always expect your time, but how many of them are actually there when you need them? It's like there's this unspoken rule that your time is up for grabs, but their time is untouchable. Don't get me wrong, being generous and helping others is important, but if you're constantly giving your time away to everyone else, who's left to prioritize your own needs and goals? That's right, it's you. One of the best lessons I've learned is that protecting your time doesn't make you selfish, it makes you smart. If someone truly values you, they will respect your boundaries. Time is a resource we all have in limited supply, and once it's gone forever. So don't waste it on things or people who don't align with your goals, your values, or your dreams. When you protect your time, you protect your future. There comes a time in everyone's life when you realize the importance of protecting your time. When you get caught up in constantly saying yes to other people's needs, it can leave you with little to no energy for your own dreams. It might be tempting to help everyone around you, to be that person they can always count on. However, there's a hard truth to face. If you don't respect your own time, others won't either. And often, people who don't respect your time may not value you as much as they do what you can do for them. Let's be clear, this isn't an invitation to abandon everyone who needs you, but there's a fine line between being helpful and being overwhelmed. Not every invitation, every request, or every favor deserves a yes. If you spend all your time working on others' agendas, you'll run out of time to work on your own passions. You only have 24 hours in a day, and if most of that time is spent focusing on other people's needs, your own projects, those things that genuinely matter to you, get pushed to the back burner. That dream project you've been meaning to start, it'll remain just that, a dream. Here's a thought that might be uncomfortable. Being a little selfish with your time is one of the best things you can do for yourself and for your relationships. When you prioritize your needs, you're not just happier, you're more present and energized when you're with others. Instead of feeling drained, resentful, and silently complaining about how your weekend was lost to someone else's to-do list, you become someone who shows up fully. You're not running on empty. And that's the difference between genuinely helping others because you want to and helping them out of obligation. Time is the most valuable currency you have. When you look back on your life, you won't remember the small favors or the endless meetings that didn't add any value to your day. You'll remember the moments spent doing what you loved, surrounded by people who respected your time as much as you respected it. Time, once spent, cannot be reclaimed. So, protect it as you would the treasure it is. Do you find yourself giving away your time, hoping for someone's approval, or simply to avoid feeling guilty? Or are you making time for the things that bring you joy and fulfillment? It's easy to get lost in the cycle of constantly helping others, and in doing so, depleting yourself. Remember, you're not an all-you-can-eat buffet of free time for others to feast on. It's okay to say no. It's okay to guard your time fiercely. You're allowed to put yourself first sometimes because, ultimately, when you invest in your own well-being, you become a better version of yourself for others. Mental health is often the foundation of everything else in life, yet it's also the first thing we let slide. Imagine running a car on an empty tank. You'd never expect it to go very far, yet we often expect our minds to push through burnout, stress, and sleepless nights without missing a beat. The reality is, without your mental health, nothing else really matters. No amount of success, money, or approval can replace the importance of a healthy mind. I've learned this lesson the hard way. There was a time I thought pushing through was the way to handle everything. I'd take on more work, stay up late, and keep piling on responsibilities. It was all about saying yes, about proving my reliability and my worth. But eventually, it all took a toll. I found myself burned out, uninterested in things that used to excite me, waking up feeling exhausted before the day even began. A friend pointed out that I didn't seem like myself anymore, and that was my wake-up call. Your mental health isn't something you earn by toughing things out. You don't have to hit rock bottom to prioritize it. Yet many people treat it as if it's only important when it's no longer possible to hide the struggle. The truth is, ignoring mental health doesn't make it go away. It only makes things worse. Think of it like a warning light in your car. You can ignore it for a while, but eventually something will break down. Similarly, Ignoring mental health can lead to burnout, depression, and anxiety, which makes everything else harder. Some people may try to tell you that taking time for yourself, setting boundaries, or even unplugging for a day is selfish or unnecessary. But those people are not the ones dealing with the consequences of pushing yourself past your limits. Taking care of your mental health is not laziness. It's not avoiding hard work. It's about preserving the one thing you need most: peace of mind. In our culture, we glorify the grind, the hustle, and the idea that we should always be on. But nothing is glamorous about waking up every day feeling anxious, going to bed burned out, and living in a cycle that leaves you too tired to enjoy life. Rest is not a weakness. It's essential. You wouldn't run on an empty battery forever, so don't expect your mind to either. If someone tries to guilt-trip you for prioritizing your mental health, take a step back. You're not here to sacrifice your well-being for someone else's comfort. Setting boundaries, taking a day off when you need it, and saying no when something isn't right for you isn't selfish. It's survival. In the end, your mental health is about thriving, not just surviving. Boundaries aren't just invisible lines, they are declarations of self-respect and sanity. Yet, how often do we sacrifice our boundaries just to keep others comfortable? Sacrificing your boundaries might keep the peace temporarily, but over time, it chips away at your sense of self. It leaves you feeling drained, used, and resentful. I used to be the person who said yes to everything. A favor? Yes. Extra work? Yes. A late-night favor? Sure. I thought this was loyalty, that it proved I was reliable and caring. But over time, I started noticing a pattern. The more I gave, the more people expected, and soon I couldn't remember where my boundaries were. I hit a breaking point when I agreed to yet another favor, but the weight of everything I had taken on was crushing. I was drained, with nothing left to give. That was the wake-up call I needed. I had to learn to respect my own boundaries or keep living life at everyone else's mercy. Boundaries are not restrictions, they are freedom. Freedom from constant pressure, freedom to rest, freedom to spend your energy on things that truly matter. Setting boundaries is about preserving your space for what truly matters. It's about creating room to invest in yourself, your dreams, and your relationships without feeling drained or resentful. People who respect your boundaries are the ones who value you, not just what you do for them. Those who don't respect your boundaries don't truly value you. They only value the convenience you provide. Financial independence is more than just about money. It's about freedom, the freedom to live life on your own terms. When you're financially independent, you're not bound by someone else's rules or dependent on anyone else's generosity. Yet, too often, we give up our financial independence without even realizing it. Whether it's relying too heavily on family or staying in a job that underpays you, sacrificing financial independence can limit your freedom and choices. I've learned the importance of financial independence through personal experience. Early on, I thought I didn't need complete control over my finances as long as I was comfortable. But over time, I realized that not having full control meant I had to ask for approval for decisions that should have been mine to make. It became frustrating and, honestly, a little humiliating, realizing I didn't have full autonomy. Financial independence isn't about being selfish or not wanting to rely on others. It's about freedom, the freedom to make choices that align with your values and dreams without seeking permission. Financial independence gives you the ability to live the life you want, on your own terms. In the end, the key to living a fulfilling life lies in respecting your time, your mental health, your boundaries, and your financial independence. You are not an all-you-can-eat buffet for others to feast on. Protect your time and energy, because once it's gone, there's no getting it back. Prioritize your mental health, Set boundaries that honor your needs and strive for financial independence so that you can live life on your own terms. Remember, you're not here to be everything to everyone. You're here to be true to yourself, to protect your peace, and to build a life that respects your dreams and well-being. It's okay to say no, to take up space, and to protect your energy. The people who truly care about you will understand. The ones who don't, let them go. Your time, your mental health, and your financial independence are yours to protect. Guard them fiercely, and you'll create a life where you can truly thrive. And when you're in control of your finances, you're less likely to settle for situations that don't serve you. You're less likely to stay in toxic relationships or make sacrifices that go against your values just because you feel financially trapped. It's not uncommon for people to give up their financial independence in relationships, thinking that pooling everything together and becoming financially reliant on each other is a sign of trust. While sharing finances can be a healthy part of a partnership, losing your financial autonomy can lead to an imbalance of power. When one person controls the finances, they can start making major decisions for both, from where you live to what you prioritize. When you depend on someone else for your financial stability, even if they have the best intentions, you're essentially putting your freedom in their hands. Think about how many people stay in jobs they dislike or in careers that don't fulfill them simply because they fear losing their financial security. They may dream of switching paths, starting a business, or taking a break to pursue something meaningful, but the fear of losing a paycheck keeps them stuck. That's why financial independence is so important. It gives you the ability to walk away from situations that don't serve you without risking everything. Achieving financial independence doesn't mean you need to be wealthy. It means having control. It's about budgeting, saving, and making intentional choices that align with your goals. Building this foundation allows you to weather storms in relationships, jobs, or any other area of life. With financial independence, you're free to focus on what truly matters to you without the looming worry of financial insecurity. One of the greatest lessons I've learned is that financial independence means people can't manipulate or control you as easily. You have the power to set boundaries, say no when something doesn't feel right, and pursue the path that fulfills you. You don't have to tolerate toxic relationships or stay in compromising situations just because you're financially tied to them. Of course, achieving financial independence takes time and discipline. It requires learning to manage money wisely, cutting unnecessary expenses, and investing in yourself to build stability. But each step toward that goal brings you more freedom and autonomy. It's worth every sacrifice because ultimately it allows you to be the architect of your own life. Don't let anyone convince you that giving up your financial independence is a small price to pay for love, loyalty, or comfort. When you sacrifice your financial autonomy, you're giving up more than just money. You're sacrificing your freedom, your ability to make decisions, and your sense of self-reliance. Financial independence is about respecting yourself enough to stand on your own, no matter what life throws your way. Passion is the fire that fuels you, the unique thing that makes you feel alive. It's the part of life that makes you lose track of time, that drives you to challenge yourself and push beyond what's expected. Yet, in a world that often prioritizes practicality, too many people abandon their passions, dismissing them as childish dreams or things not worth pursuing. Here's the reality. Passion is essential. It's the energy that keeps you curious, resilient, and truly alive. Without it, life becomes mechanical, a series of tasks and obligations that feel empty. We've all heard someone say, "I used to be into that, but life got in the way," or "I don't have time for it anymore." That's the quiet surrender of something meaningful in our lives. Once lost, it's incredibly hard to get back. When I was younger, I had a passion for writing. I could spend hours creating worlds, characters, and stories. But as I grew older, the pressure to be practical took over. I convinced myself that writing wasn't important, that I had to focus on things that were useful. Over time, I felt a growing emptiness. Nothing else seemed to fill the gap. Eventually, I realized that giving up writing wasn't just giving up a hobby, it was giving up a fundamental part of who I am. So, I made the time to write again, even if it was just for a few hours a week. The impact it had on my life was incredible. That small spark of doing something I loved reignited my energy and excitement, even in other areas of my life. This is what so many of us forget. Passion is not extra or frivolous, it's essential. Giving up on your passion means denying yourself what makes life vibrant. No matter how many responsibilities or obligations you have, there must always be room for passion. Without it, you're simply existing, not truly living. People often argue that passion doesn't pay the bills or that it's just a hobby. But the truth is, your passion matters. It's what fuels your resilience and keeps you engaged with life. Giving it up for the sake of practicality or to please others is a mistake you'll regret. No job, no amount of money, no practical pursuit will replace the fulfillment that comes from doing what you love. Passion is contagious. When you pursue what excites you, others take notice. You become more vibrant, engaging, and inspiring. You encourage others to dig deep, to step away from the grind, and explore what makes them feel alive. This ripple effect can have a profound impact on the world. Pursuing your passion takes courage, especially when society or even those around you dismiss it. But here's the hard truth. Those people aren't living your life. Only you know what gives you purpose, what sets your soul on fire. Only you can choose to nurture that passion. Sometimes it means saying no to obligations that drain you, stepping away from people who don't understand, or sacrificing short-term comfort for long-term joy. If you're willing to protect your passion, to let it thrive despite the noise, you'll find fulfillment that no external validation can match. Passion is a lifelong companion. It deserves your attention and your effort. So don't let anyone convince you that passion is optional. Don't wait for someday to get back to it. Start now, even in small doses. Whether it's art, music, sports, storytelling, or something else entirely, make room for it. Passion is what makes life meaningful. Don't ever sacrifice it. These are the things that define us, that give our lives meaning. It's easy to forget them in a world that constantly asks us to compromise. But remember, your self-respect, your dreams, your boundaries, and your passions are non-negotiable. They are the foundation of who you are. So protect them fiercely, live your values, and never let anyone convince you to give up what's truly important. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this resonated with you, like, subscribe, or share it with someone who could use it. And remember, you deserve to live a life true to yourself.